Linux is an open-source operating system based on UNIX and is mainly used in servers. A command line interface is often used to manage a server with Linux installed on it. Also relevant to this workshop, most bioinformatics software requires Linux OS for smart computation. Therefore, learning bioinformatics in the Linux environment is one of the essential parts for beginners in bioinformatics. The supercomputer at the National Institute of Genetics also uses Linux as its operating system. The NIG supercomputer uses Red Hat Enterprise Linux, a commercial OS developed by Red Hat, and CentOS, which is based on Red Hat Enterprise Linux. A Linux distribution is an operating system created from a software collection based on the Linux kernel and package management system. Famous free Linux distribution includes CentOS, which are used in NIG supercomputer, and Ubuntu. The operating system of personal computers in general use are Windows and macOS. In this section, I explain how to access a Linux server, such as the NIG supercomputer from Windows or Mac. In the case of Mac, you can access a Linux server with a pre-installed terminal application and SSH command. In the case of Windows, you can access the Linux server using pre-installed PowerShell and the OpenSSH client, which must be installed on Windows additionally. First, I will explain how to install the OpenSSH client on Windows 10. Launch Settings from the Start menu. Click on Apps. Click on Optional Features. Click on Add a feature. Check the box for OpenSSH client and click Install. Windows 10 also has a feature called Windows Subsystem for Linux 2. You can use this feature to install Linux on Windows 10 and access the NIG supercomputer from that Linux. In the following lectures, you will not require to install WSL2, but by installing WSL2, you will be able to use Linux on your own Windows PC. You can try to install WSL2 on your own Windows PC. You can find detailed instructions for installing WSL2 on Microsoft's website, so I only describe the installation instructions here. Several Linux distributions can be installed on WSL2, but we recommend Ubuntu 20.04 LTS, the latest Ubuntu distribution version. After installing the Linux distribution on WSL2, you can access Linux running on WSL2 from the Windows terminal application. Now that we have prepared the software to access the NIG supercomputer, let's try to access the NIG supercomputer. Please prepare your account name and password for the NIG supercomputer given in advance. First, I will explain how to access the NIG supercomputer from a Mac and Linux. Launch the terminal application. Use the SSH keygen command to create a key pair. Here, a SCID-RSA file is created as a private key, and the SCID-RSA.pub file is created as a public key. For security reasons, The NIG supercomputers do not allow password login. We also recommend that you set a passphrase for your key pair in case your laptop is lost. Display and copy the created public key's contents. And open the account page of NIG supercomputer and log in. And move to the registration form of SSH public keys. Paste the copied contents into the public key registration form and send it. When you register the public key, you can access the gateway node using the SSH command with the private key that pairs with the registered public key. The first time you connect to the server, you will be asked if you want, so type yes. Next, you will be asked for the passphrase for the private key. Type the passphrase and enter. You cannot perform work on the gateway node, so execute the qlogin command to log in to the login node. Next, I will explain how to access the NIG supercomputer by using Windows PowerShell. The essential operation is the same, except the file path format is different. If you have installed WSL2 on a Windows PC, please create a key pair in the Windows environment separately from the Linux environment and register it with the NIG supercomputer. There is no problem if you register both the Linux environment public key and the Windows environment public key from the registration form. You can use the same passphrase for both if you want.